Hello everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thank you for joining me. This is my first video and it's going to be a pistol comparison and shooting video. I know what you're saying, you know, with production values like these, such as a nice scratched up table, iffy audio and terrible lighting, that, you know, I should be an expert at making these videos. But no, to you, hypothetical viewer, probably a very hypothetical viewer, this is my first gun video, and I hope you enjoy it. And today I'm going to talk about two pistols, a beautiful Italian and her heavier, yet still very attractive friend, the Beretta 92fs, and the Israeli Jericho. Let's see if we can put both of these firearms in frame here. I wanted to compare these two because there's a lot of similarities. They're both double action, 9mm semi-automatic pistols. They're both full-sized, really, for the type of semi-automatic pistols they are. They both have safeties with the cockers on them on the slide, double-stacked high-capacity magazines. Just two pistols that are sort of in the same category. And I'll start with talking about the Beretta. The Beretta 92, I believe it came out in the, what would have it been, the mid-70s, if I recall. And I don't recall because I was in single digits in the mid-70s, but I recall reading somewhere, I should say. And first, let me show you on both of these guns so we can be nice and safe. Of course, I've checked them 1,000 times, but here you go. It is completely empty. Whoa! There's those great production values I was talking about. But as you can see, it's empty. Nothing in the magazine. Keep it on safe there. We'll do the same thing with the Jericho. Oh, nice and stiff. So, empty chamber. Empty magazine. So the 92, once again, it did come out in the mid-70s. It was the 92, then I think it went to the 92F, and then the FS later when they added the extra safety to keep the slide for potentially coming off the frame. These pistols, whew, gosh, in the mid-80s just became very, very popular. They were showcased in a couple of movies, well, many movies, but the ones that really thrust into the limelight would be Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson, and of course Die Hard. So it was just a beautiful pistol, and I remember they were very hard to find back then. My father attempted for months on end just to get a 92F, and I believe it did take him months, and he was able to get one from an Oshman's, if we remember the Oshman's. He was very, very excited. This particular one I have here, I purchased in the very late 90s. It was I guess it was called like the police model, I'm not sure, but it came in a cardboard box. It was basically the budget model. It was in a cardboard box with a sleeve that had a badge on it and said police. It was the late 90s, so with the ban still in effect, it came with two 10-round magazines and one aftermarket terrible high-capacity magazine that I ended up getting rid of because it was not reliable. I mean, it's just a gorgeous pistol, and I'm sure many people bought them so they could go outside and shoot their gun and pretend to be, you know, Mel Gibson or Bruce Willis, starring in one of their movies, you know. But, you know, what kind of a pathetic person would do something like that, right? Woo! Take that, Hans Gruber. Yeah, well, anyway, I guess one of the things about the 92F that makes it so popular is obviously the aesthetics of it, the open top design that is just sort of, well, Beretta's design. Yeah, that was very eloquent. But aids in ejection, less chance of the round getting caught while ejecting, and it just looks beautiful. It really looks pretty, and it is a design that's on many of their firearms. Obviously, this pistol was adopted by the military in the 80s. It was designated the M9, and it's still a very, very popular gun, and a beautiful one. My only real complaint, I would say, about the Beretta would be, well, I mean, it's a large 9mm. So nowadays, everyone's got tiny 9mm out there, and amazing good tiny 9mm out there. So if you're going to be carrying one of these, it's probably not going to be an inside the waistband holster. It's going to be a duty holster of some sort. And for its size, just people don't tend to carry large 9mm anymore. But the grip is sort of fat on these. Now I guess, according to my license, I'm 5'8". According to my wife, maybe a little shorter. According to me, maybe a little taller. But, my hands are about medium-sized hands, maybe slightly larger. I think when I do buy gloves, I do buy larger size gloves, although I just kind of have chubby Flintstone fingers. So I'm not sure that's necessarily just because of the size of my hand. And the grip does feel a little thick. I mean, it does. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's easy to shoot. It's a 9mm, so in a full frame gun like this, it's just very, very pleasant to shoot and doesn't have a lot of recoil, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel great in the hand. And that takes us to the I.W.I. Jericho. Let's see if I can keep that there. Formerly I.W.I. When these first came out, at least when I first saw them, I'm not sure exactly when they were first produced, but I saw them in the mid-90s. Mid to late 90s. Back then, they were called the Baby Eagle. The difference between that and this one was they didn't have the, this was the late 90s, so there weren't rails on every single firearm. It didn't happen until, I guess, the turn of the century when, Berettas, SIGs, everything started having accessory rails put on the bottom of them, which are great, don't get me wrong, but the aesthetics sometimes does change, and there's something nice to see about when you do have a pistol that doesn't have a rail on the bottom. And I have older SIGs that are very pretty. Unfortunately, I do not still have the older version of this pistol. I gave it to a very, very close friend of mine that just loved the way it shot, and so I gave it to him. And but I, of course, bought myself another one because these are great pistols. So unlike the Beretta, the grip on this one is amazing. When I hold it in my hand, the way my hand snugs up under the beaver tail, I'm able to grip it a lot better, and it feels more comfortable to me. I mean, I think you can even visibly see that my hand wraps around it more, and my thumb can actually touch my fingers a little better. And it's a heavy pistol, and that's a detriment and a benefit. It's a benefit for newer shooters or someone who wants to just use this pistol at the range or for competition shooting, because you're gonna get quick shots off of it. The weight eats up that 9mm recoil so much. And of course, a lot of people would say the design of how this smaller slide that sits inside the frame, I guess in some ways may reduce muzzle flip during firing, so you can get back on target quicker. I can tell you that over the years, obviously, I've, as many of us have, we've taught friends to shoot. And for some of my friends that I have taught to shoot, I normally start them off on some sort of 22. But by the time I have them on semi-automatics and a center fire, typically this is what I start them with, because it does have a good grip that fits all sizes of people. And because even with a center fire 9mm, the weight of this pistol just makes it pleasant to shoot. Just not pleasant to carry on your waist or to hold out for long periods of time. I think unloaded it may be almost 2 pounds. I mean, it's 2 pounds, almost 4 pounds. I think it's just under. But that being said, it's a gorgeous gun. It comes in a few different styles. Most notably, they do make a frame-mounted safety version of this. Now, this, just like the Beretta, has a safety decocker, and I know a lot of people don't like that. I enjoy shooting a lot. I don't really do competitions. I don't consider myself a tactical person. I shoot because I enjoy it and for self-defense. And I think that the big complaint with slide-mounted safeties is that some people are nervous that when you're going to actuate the firearm, that you may end up flipping the safety on, and therefore when you come back into battery, suddenly your gun's unsafe and you may lose, that second that's going to cost you your life. I've never had that happen when I'm shooting at the range, when I'm manipulating the slide. I guess that's another complaint about this pistol. Now, this one I will agree with. The slide is kind of small. I mean, I don't have a problem grabbing it like this, but if you're trying to manipulate the slide this way, it can be a little difficult. It's small here. It'd be nice if they had front serrations, but I wouldn't say it's terrible, and it's not something you could... Well, it is something you could get around by just training with the pistol. But like I said, a lot of people don't like the slide-mounted safety. I don't have a problem with it. They do make a frame-mounted safety version of this, but I believe that one is not a decocker, and it's you can carry it just safe. Whoops, yeah, sorry about that. Did I mention terrible editing might be part of the production? Anyway, as I was saying, for the frame-mounted safety version of this firearm, I'm almost certain it is not a decocker, so you basically can carry it as a double action with a hammer down and the safety on, or sort of 1911 style, where you can have it the hammer back and the safety on and carrying it cocked and locked. So those are available. They used to be harder to find, although I think right now they're a little more common as far as import when you find these pistols. So, both beautiful pistols, both a lot of fun to shoot. Let's take them to the range so we can fire a few rounds out of each. And I'm going to try to see if I can get a little slow-mo side view of these firearms as they shoot, so you can see and make a comparison for yourself. Okay, this is Beretta 92fs, 10 rounds. This is about 15 yards. The Jericho 9mm, 10 rounds.